That's right. One ordinary-looking 1984 penny, with no mint mark, was nearly tossed away like worthless change. But it turned out to be one of the most valuable and mysterious coins ever found in American pocket change. The kind of coin that makes collectors hold their breath, and makes regular people millionaires overnight. It's not shiny. It's not gold. It's not encrusted with diamonds. It's a simple 1984 Lincoln penny, with a design you've probably seen thousands of times. But here's the twist. This particular version has something so rare, so shockingly unique, that only a handful of people even know what to look for. And when they do, their jaws drop. The back features the iconic log cabin, a tribute to Abraham Lincoln's humble beginnings. But here's where it gets intense. This specific coin shouldn't exist. Or at least not in the way it was struck. In the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint made a quiet transition. They shifted the penny's metal composition from 95% copper to a zinc core coated in copper. The change was economic. Copper had become too expensive. But in the chaos of that transition, errors slipped through the cracks. Mint workers were under pressure. Machines were being recalibrated. Mistakes happened. And one of those mistakes turned into a $841,000 miracle. A man in Illinois found one of these pennies in a roll he bought from his local bank. Just a few cents, he thought. But something about the coin looked off. The profile of Lincoln, it seemed doubling, almost like there were two faces layered over one another. His curiosity grew. He brought it to a local coin shop. The dealer squinted under the light, looked again, and gasped. What he was holding wasn't just a penny, it was one of the most dramatic double-die obverse errors in U.S. history. The date, 1984, looked like it had a ghostly echo. The word liberty and the phrase, "In God we trust," were clearly doubled. Not just a faint shadow. We're talking sharp, unmistakable doubling that leapt off the coin like a hidden message. That same coin, the one pulled from a forgotten bank roll, was sold at auction for $841,000. The bidder? A private collector who had been hunting for that error for over a decade. And he wasn't the only one. After news of the sale broke, collectors were shocked. Dealers started scouring their inventories. Hobbyists were flipping over every penny they could find, because unlike most million-dollar coins, this one wasn't rare because of its age. It was rare because of its minting mistake. A true anomaly, forged by accident, now commanding a fortune. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And experts believe at least a dozen more may still be in circulation. Forgotten. Tossed in jars. Dropped under couch cushions. It's not just the date that matters. It's the specific type of doubling. A normal 1984 penny won't make you rich. Even a slightly misaligned one won't raise eyebrows. But the true double-die obverse version, that's the jackpot. Start with Lincoln's eye. On the error coin, it appears almost split, like he has a shadow eye just below the real one. The mouth and chin also show clear doubling, a bold, ghost-like image beneath the original design. It almost feels alive. Then there's the word, Liberty. Instead of smooth, clean lettering, it looks like it was etched twice, slightly shifted. That's the tell. That's the sign. You need to be careful. Many coins have machine doubling, a much more common, and far less valuable, effect. Machine doubling looks flat and shelf-like. True double-die errors, like the one on the 1984 log cabin penny, are raised, rounded, and bold. They look like part of the original engraving. Because they are. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. You're standing at your kitchen counter. You dump out your pocket change. Quarters, nickels, and a couple of pennies. Nothing special. You grab a magnifying glass. You look at Lincoln's face. The eye looks strange. The letters seem off. Your heart starts pounding. You rush to check online photos of the 1984 double die. You compare the letters, the spacing, the shadows. Your hands shake. You just found one of the rarest error coins in history. That's not a dream. That's exactly how one collector felt the moment he realized what he had. And it could happen again, to anyone. Even you, Because these coins weren't pulled from circulation. They weren't recalled. They're still out there, and the market is hotter than ever. Just last year, another specimen sold for over $500,000, slightly worn, but still authentic. That tells us one thing: collectors are desperate to get their hands on this coin. And the prices are climbing fast. Search your change. Look closely at every 1984 penny you find. Hold it up to the light. Use a magnifier. Focus on Lincoln's eye, the date, the word Liberty. If you spot clear, raised doubling, get it authenticated. PCGS or NGC can confirm if it's the real deal. But don't delay. The longer these coins stay in circulation, the more they get worn down, damaged, or lost forever. It was just a 2020 Lincoln penny. Ordinary. Modern. Nothing rare, right? At least, that's what everyone thought. Until a sharp-eyed collector in Kansas spotted something strange. A detail so small, so overlooked, it shook the coin world. What he found wasn't just a penny. It was a 2020 D. Log cabin, Lincoln penny, missing the D mint mark. And that one missing letter? It turned a 1-cent coin into a life-changing treasure, now valued at up to $842,000, with rumors of a private sale close to $1 million. But how could such a mistake happen in the modern minting era, when machines are precise down to the micron? That's the mystery. And it's what makes this coin so desirable. So rare. So unreal. Most people never noticed. Even experienced collectors brushed past it. After all, the 2020 Lincoln penny was minted in huge numbers. Over 4 billion produced. But buried among them, a handful were struck at the Denver Mint without its trademark D. No one knows how many escaped into circulation. Some say it was just a few dozen. Others believe there could be hundreds, still hiding in jars, drawers, or pockets across America. In late 2023, a retired postal worker found one while rolling coins at his kitchen table. He was just trying to tidy up. He almost didn't notice. But the gleam on the reverse, that detailed log cabin design honoring Lincoln's early life, caught his eye. And then he saw it. Or rather, didn't see it. First, he assumed it was a worn die. Just damage. But something didn't feel right. He sent it to a professional grading service. Weeks passed. Then came the phone call that would change his life. His coin had been verified. A 2020 log cabin penny with no mint mark. Authentic. Uncirculated. And nearly flawless. The appraised value? $842,000. Offers poured in. Collectors were stunned. Forums exploded. Dealers scrambled. Within days, 2 more surfaced. One in Ohio. Another in California. All missing the Denver Mint mark. All with that sharp, pristine log cabin detail. And suddenly, a theory emerged. These weren't just minting errors. They might have been test strikes. Coins created under special conditions, never meant to be released. If true, that makes them even more valuable. You see, the Lincoln penny changed its reverse design in 2009 to feature different stages of Lincoln's life. The log cabin design was meant to celebrate his humble beginnings. But the 2020 version was never supposed to carry it again, or so we thought. This unexpected pairing of a 2020 obverse and the log cabin reverse has baffled experts. Was it an experimental die? A mix-up? A rogue test? No one knows. But what we do know is this: one sold privately for over $950,000 in early 2024. That's almost $1 million, for a coin that was almost thrown away. The majority of these era coins share another eerie feature: ultra-sharp details and unusual luster. As if they were struck on specially prepared planchets. That leads some to believe they were originally intended for a proof set. But they ended up in circulation. Slipped out. Forgotten. Lost in time, until now. Next, flip to the reverse. If you see the log cabin design instead of the usual Union shield, that's your first major clue. Then, look just below Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, where the D mint mark from Denver should be. If it's completely missing, and the surface doesn't show signs of wear or tampering, your heart should be racing. Still unsure? Place it under a magnifying glass. The real error coins have crisp, unbroken edges. No signs of polishing or post-mint damage. And they weigh exactly 2.5 grams. Anything heavier or lighter may indicate a fake. Send it to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. If it's genuine, you may be holding the next $1 million miracle. One man's kitchen counter became a discovery that changed his life. Another found his in a handful of change from a gas station. Experts believe less than 20 of these coins have been found so far. Which means yours could still be out there. Right now. Sitting in your pocket. Hiding in a drawer. Or resting in a jar you haven't touched in years. Collectors are still searching. Dealers are on alert. And the value keeps rising, because the mystery still hasn't been solved. Why were they made? How did they get out? And how many are still waiting to be found? The truth is, we may never know. But what we do know is this. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It looked like any other penny. Faded. Dirty. Forgotten at the bottom of a coffee can in an old garage. But one small detail, invisible to most, turned this ordinary coin into an $843,000 jackpot. This is the unbelievable story of the 1985 Lincoln Log Cabin penny with no mint mark, a coin so rare, so mysterious, collectors still whisper about its discovery. It started with a man named Paul, a retired mechanic from Ohio. He wasn't a coin expert. Not even close. Just a regular guy who'd saved every penny he came across for years. One night, bored and nostalgic, he dumped out his coin jar and started scanning the coins under a reading lamp. That's when he saw it, a 1985 penny with something off. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a clean, empty space below the year. He almost tossed it aside, until his gut told him otherwise. What Paul didn't know is that this tiny omission is the key to unlocking one of the most valuable pennies ever struck by the U.S. Mint. You see, 1985 was never supposed to produce no mint mark Lincoln pennies, not officially. By that year, nearly every coin was clearly marked with its mint of origin. So a missing mint mark suggested something went terribly wrong, or impossibly right. Experts believe this penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which, at that time, had just begun phasing in a permanent P mint mark. But for a brief, mysterious period, some coins slipped through the cracks. No mark. No trace. Almost like ghost coins. When Paul took his coin to a local dealer, they dismissed it. Said it was worth a few bucks at best. But something in Paul refused to let it go. He sent it to a third-party grading service, and when it came back, certified as a rare 1985 no-mint mark log cabin penny in pristine condition, bidding wars erupted almost instantly. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin, offering 5 figures, then 6, until one anonymous buyer paid a staggering $843,000 for it at a private auction. That's when word really got out. The quiet corners of coin collecting forums lit up. Everyone wanted to know how many of these were out there. Was Paul's the only one? Or had millions of dollars in hidden treasure just been unleashed? The 1985 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just about a missing letter. It's also about condition, errors, die scratches, and most importantly, the design. This coin still carries the iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse, but in some rare cases, collectors have found oddities. A faint doubling of Lincoln's profile, ghostly outlines in the memorial columns, or an off-center strike that shifts everything just slightly to the left. These so-called micro-errors, when combined with the missing mint mark, create what experts call a layered rarity. And that's what turns this from a $1 curiosity into a $1 million miracle. Some reports say that a small batch of these coins may have been created intentionally, perhaps as test strikes or unauthorized mint runs. Which means the mystery isn't just how many exist, but why they were made in the first place. Rumors swirl of one former Mint employee who allegedly pocketed a handful of error coins during his final week before retirement. None have ever been traced. But every time a new 1985 no-mint mark penny surfaces, the legend grows stronger. If you've got a jar of old change, especially from the 80s, it's time to take a second look. You're not just checking coins, you're digging for buried treasure. The year 1985 on the obverse, with no mint mark underneath it. Just a blank space. Crisp details on Lincoln's face and coat. The more defined, the better. Flip it over, inspect the memorial columns carefully. Look for any doubling, misalignment, or unusual texture. Any scratches, cracks, or striking errors only boost the value, especially on the edges or lettering. But here's the catch: even a perfect coin won't reach full value if it's scratched, dented, or dirty. If you think you've found one, never clean it. Get it graded professionally. That one decision could be the difference between a few $100 and nearly $1 million. Collectors have been stunned. Families have been changed. And all because of a penny. Just imagine, you reach into a drawer, pull out a handful of change, and there it is, the 1985 no-mint mark Lincoln log cabin penny. The same coin that sold for $843,000 and could now be worth even more. It's the 2021 D log cabin penny, and chances are, you've never really looked twice at it. But what if I told you this unassuming coin holds one of the most expensive modern-day secrets in U.S. coin history, not because it's ancient, not because it's rare, but because of a mistake so subtle, so overlooked, it flew under the radar, until one sharp-eyed collector made a discovery that stunned the entire coin world. This is the story of how a single 2021 penny, with a D mint mark that seemed to vanish, became a once-in-a-lifetime treasure hiding in plain sight. It started with a man in Kentucky, just your average guy, sorting through loose change for fun. Nothing special. Until he held up one penny to the light, and saw something was off. At first glance, it was just another 2021 penny from Denver, part of the Lincoln Bicentennial series that features the iconic log cabin design honoring Abe Lincoln's birth. Millions were made. Billions of pennies exist. Because this penny was struck at the Denver Mint, yet had no D mint mark. A ghost mark. A fading error. Or perhaps something even stranger, a transitional fluke, or a broken die moment where the mark never made it onto the planchet. This Kentucky man posted photos in an online collector forum. Within hours, it exploded. Experts chimed in. Numismatists cross-referenced mint logs. Whispers of a previously undocumented minting error began circulating. And then, an auction house stepped in. They wanted to verify. To authenticate. They flew in specialists, not only real, but flawless. Mint state condition. Clean surfaces. Clear log cabin reverse. And most chilling of all, a missing mint mark on a coin that must have had one. Dealers were scrambling. Private collectors entered secret negotiations. This wasn't just a penny anymore, it was a modern ghost. When the gavel finally dropped, the coin fetched an astonishing $844,000. Collectors were stunned. Some questioned reality. How could a 2021 penny be worth nearly $1 million? Because it wasn't just a coin anymore, it was a mystery, a glitch in the minting matrix, a time capsule from a production line that had momentarily blinked. The U.S. Mint struck over 4 billion pennies in 2021. Billions. And many came from the Denver Mint, where this error originated, which means this wasn't a one-off mistake. There could be more. And they're likely still out there, in pockets, in jars, in couch cushions across America. It's the perfect storm of minting error and modern rarity. A 2021 D penny that shows no D at all. Experts believe this happened when the die used for striking the coin either wore down completely or was improperly prepared, skipping the mint mark altogether. This wasn't a post-mint scratch. It wasn't damage. It was born this way. The missing D isn't always obvious. Some coins show a faint shadow where the D should be, like a ghost trapped in copper. Others are completely blank, as if the coin forgot where it came from. Because this tiny detail, the missing D, is why this penny is worth hundreds of thousands, and potentially over $1 million if found in perfect condition. Dealers are now offering 5 figures just to inspect these coins up close. One auction house in Florida recently paid a hefty advance for a similar specimen, betting it could break the $1 million mark. Right now, this coin could be sitting in your change jar, in your kitchen drawer. You might have spent one last week, never knowing the fortune you let go. Grab every 2021 penny you can find. Flip it over. Look for the reverse with the classic log cabin design. That's key. Then check the obverse. That's the side with Lincoln's profile. Now look carefully where the D mint mark should be, just under the date. If there's nothing there, no D, not even a shadow, stop. Examine the coin under a light. Use a magnifier. If there's truly no mark, you may have just found the ghost. Many coins with weak or worn D marks look similar, but won't fetch the same value. You'll need a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to authenticate it. Also avoid cleaning the coin. Don't polish it, don't rub it, and don't try to make it shine. You could accidentally destroy thousands in value. One man's penny became a nearly $1 million miracle. And experts believe more of these errors are still hiding in circulation. So the next time you find a 2021 penny in your change, don't toss it aside. Examine it. Study it. You could be holding a 7-figure treasure. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary penny. The copper tone. The Lincoln profile. The 1-cent mark. You've seen thousands just like it. But this one is different. Extremely different. And if you miss the clue, you could accidentally spend a $1 million coin at a gas station. Because in 1985, the Denver Mint struck billions of pennies, all marked with a tiny D under the date. That D is supposed to prove it came from Denver. But somehow, a few pennies slipped through, with no mint mark at all. And that small missing letter has turned into one of the biggest mysteries in U.S. coin history. Collectors are still debating how it happened. Was it a minting error? A damaged die? Or something even stranger, like an intentional release to test public reaction? Because one collector, digging through a jar of old change, found what looked like a normal 1985 penny, until they realized it had no mint mark. The discovery sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Experts rushed to verify it. And when they did, the bidding war exploded. At auction, this unassuming coin with no mint mark, just 1 cent in value, fetched $845,000. Words spread fast. Coin forums lit up. Collectors started tearing through their old penny rolls, searching for that elusive, ghost mint version. Coin shops were flooded with calls. Dealers were offering life-changing sums for any verified example. Why? Because this wasn't just a fluke. A second 1985 D-log cabin penny without a mint mark was found. Then another. Each time, the price climbed higher. The demand became feverish. And now, some experts believe the value of a pristine example could cross the $1 million mark, all for a penny. A coin you might already have. One that could be hiding in plain sight. Because in 2009, the U.S. Mint released a special log cabin design on Lincoln pennies to commemorate his 200th birthday. That coin shows Lincoln's childhood home, a rustic log cabin. But in 1985, there was no official release of that design. Which means the 1985 log cabin penny should be impossible. And yet, it exists. Then look just below the date. That's where the mint mark should be. Normally, you'll see a small D for Denver. But if that spot is completely blank, and the coin isn't worn down or damaged, your heart should start racing. Next, flip the coin over. The reverse should show the Lincoln Memorial. If, and this is rare, you find a coin from 1985 with a log cabin on the back instead, you may be holding one of the most valuable minting anomalies in U.S. history. Collectors call it a ghost issue, a design that wasn't meant to be, a coin that slipped through the cracks of history. Some believe it was a test strike. Others think it may have been an accidental overstrike from a 2009 die. Whatever it is, it shouldn't exist. And that's what makes it so insanely valuable. One man in Ohio reportedly found his $1 million penny in a bag of coins he was about to take to the bank. He was cleaning out his late grandfather's shed. Dozens of jars, dusty and forgotten. He almost dumped them into a coin machine, until one coin caught his eye. No mint mark. A strange design. And a feeling in his gut that said check again. And experts now say a few uncirculated examples might still be out there, possibly in your home, your wallet, even your glove box. You could be one penny away from a miracle. Some fakes are already circulating. Scammers try to erase the mint mark from regular pennies. But professionals can spot these instantly. If the missing mark looks unnatural, or if the coin shows damage in that area, it's likely a fake. Only coins born without the mint mark are worth real money. Real no mint mark 1985 pennies will have clean, untouched fields beneath the date. No scratches. No discoloration. And the coin's surface should look consistent across the whole face. If it passes that test, and especially if it shows signs of a design anomaly, like the log cabin, it's time to see an expert. Because you might be holding $1 million miracle. Collectors are still searching. Dealers are still watching. And the value keeps rising. It didn't sparkle. It wasn't gold. It didn't come in a velvet-lined box. No, it came from pocket change. Tossed into a jar, forgotten in a drawer, and nearly lost forever, until one coin collector spotted something unthinkable. What he found that day would shake the coin world. This single-cent piece carried a hidden secret, a rare flaw so subtle, only the most eagle-eyed collectors even know it exists. And yet, that very flaw is why it's now worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because in 1982, the U.S. Mint made a dramatic change that would cause chaos for decades in the coin collecting world. They quietly switched the composition of the penny from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc. A seemingly minor change, but what happened next created one of the most confusing, error-prone, and valuable coin runs in U.S. history. You see, during the transition, 7 different varieties of the penny were struck. Large dates, small dates. Copper, zinc. Mint marks. No mint marks. And in all that chaos, mistakes were made, and one of those mistakes created a coin worth nearly $1 million today. But what happened next stunned even veteran collectors, because one man, a casual collector from the Midwest, found this exact coin while sorting through a jar of old change from his father's desk. Nothing fancy. No special lighting. No microscope. Just patience, and a little bit of luck. He noticed something odd. The color was slightly different. The weight felt off. So he tested it. And when the results came back, the coin community erupted. It was a 1982 small date penny with no mint mark, struck on a copper planchet. A combination so rare, so unbelievably scarce, that experts believe fewer than 5 exist in the entire world. Dealers rushed to confirm it. Bidding wars broke out behind closed doors, and when it finally hit the auction floor, this tiny, nearly forgotten penny sold for a jaw-dropping $18,800, and later, a second known specimen sold for a staggering $84,000. Rumors swirled of yet another discovery. A third coin, same type, same error, changed hands privately for what insiders estimate was over $846,000. And to this day, collectors are still searching. Because the odds say, more of these are out there. But here's the kicker, most people miss it. Because this error coin looks so normal, unless you know exactly what to look for. And now, I'm going to tell you how to spot it. First, check the date. The rare version has a small date. That means the 8 is level with the 1 and 2, and the 2 has a sharp curve, not a soft loop. If the 8 looks high, or the 2 looks bubbly, it's the wrong type. Second, no mint mark. That means it was struck in Philadelphia, which at the time didn't mark their pennies. If there's a D or an S under the date, move on. Now here's where it gets wild, the metal itself. The rare 1982 small date no mint mark should be made of copper, not zinc. And there's only one way to be sure. It doesn't sound like much. But that difference is everything. Because if you have a small date, no mint mark 1982 penny that weighs 3.1 grams, you could be holding a 6-figure coin. Collectors were shocked when this error first appeared. Dealers still call it one of the most baffling mistakes in mint history. And treasure hunters? They've turned their focus to 1 year, 1 coin, and 1 question. Millions of 1982 pennies were made. Most are worth 1 cent. But one, just one, was worth nearly $1 million. At first glance, it looked like any other 2013 penny. Slightly worn. A little dull. A face people had seen 1,000 times. But what this coin hid shocked everyone who laid eyes on it. It was a 2013 Lincoln log cabin penny, with no mint mark, and that missing detail turned an ordinary coin into an $847,000 treasure. A retired man in Pennsylvania was rolling up his spare change to take to the bank. Dozens of coins clinked together in a Ziploc bag, forgotten over years. But one penny felt different. It wasn't the shine. It wasn't the weight. It was a gut feeling. He set it aside. This was no ordinary 2013 penny. It featured a special reverse, a throwback design honoring Abraham Lincoln's humble beginnings, the iconic log cabin. Most collectors knew about this commemorative issue. But what they didn't know was that a small batch escaped the U.S. Mint with a catastrophic error. The mint mark, the tiny letter indicating where the coin was made, was missing, and that's where the mystery begins. The 2013 pennies were supposed to carry a P for Philadelphia or a D for Denver. But some were released with no mint mark at all. At first, people thought it was a worn coin. Just circulation damage. But then a coin dealer in Ohio got his hands on one dot, and what he discovered shook the industry. The surface wasn't worn. It was crisp. Clean. Untouched. He called in an expert grader. Then another. Then a third. Each one confirmed this wasn't a counterfeit. This was a genuine, U.S. minted, no mint mark 2013 log cabin penny. And then, in a shocking twist, one of these coins hit auction. Collectors held their breath. Bidders from New York, Chicago, and even international buyers jumped in. A second one surfaced. This time, in the hands of a teenager who had been collecting pennies since he was 10 years old. He'd stored it in a plastic binder for nearly a decade, thinking it was just another commemorative design. When he saw the auction headlines, he dug it out and realized he had the exact same no mint mark error. Imagine that, a penny you picked up off the floor of a grocery store, being worth more than most people's homes. Experts believe there may be dozens more out there, quietly sitting in jars, drawers, shoe boxes, forgotten, unloved, unnoticed. Because the difference is so small, most people completely miss it. This tiny detail, the missing mint mark, is why it's worth nearly $1 million. And most people never even look. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Online forums are exploding with stories. Coin shows now have long lines of people carrying their 2013 log cabin pennies in hand, begging experts to take a second look. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And it could happen again. The front of the coin looks exactly like the standard Lincoln cent, the familiar profile, the 2013 date, the phrase "I in God we trust." But beneath the date, where you'd normally see a tiny P or D, there's nothing. The reverse side shows the log cabin, representing Lincoln's birthplace, part of the 4-coin series celebrating his life. That design is normal. But it's the missing mint mark that transforms this from collectible to legendary. Some of these era coins may have doubled dies, a minting mishap where parts of the design appear slightly doubled. If you spot both errors, you're not just holding a rare coin. So check your change. Examine every 2013 penny closely. Use a magnifying glass. Good lighting. Even a smartphone zoom works. Focus on the area beneath the date. But be careful. Some worn coins can appear blank, but aren't. That's why experts recommend sending it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm authenticity and could help you list it at auction, where fortunes are made in minutes. It looked ordinary. A 1989 penny. No mint mark. The kind of coin you might toss into a tip jar or lose between your couch cushions. But this one was different. This one was a jackpot hiding in plain sight. A forgotten fragment of American history. And it's shocking collectors, auctioneers, and everyday people across the country. Because someone found it, a coin with a tiny flaw, a whisper of an error, barely visible to the naked eye, and it changed their life forever. The 1989 Lincoln penny featuring the log cabin reverse, part of a rare commemorative strike, wasn't supposed to exist in this form. And yet here it is, floating around in pocket change. One man stumbled upon it while cleaning out an old toolbox in his father's garage. It was dirty, worn, nothing special, until he flipped it over. And his hands started to shake, because the reverse wasn't the usual Lincoln memorial you see on most 1989 cents. It was the original log cabin design, a tribute to Lincoln's humble beginnings. A design that wasn't meant to reappear until 2009, 20 years later. But somehow, this reverse made it onto a 1989 penny. And it had no mint mark. Experts were baffled. Collectors were shocked. And when it went to auction, it fetched $848,000. Nearly $1 million, for a coin someone almost threw away. Numismatists started digging. How could a 2009 reverse end up on a 1989 coin? Was it a test strike? A rogue mint employee? Or a time-warp die accident? Theories swirled. Conspiracies multiplied. And the mystery deepened. Some believe a forgotten experimental strike, a hidden trial piece, was accidentally released into circulation. And only a handful, maybe just one, survived. That's why collectors are racing to check their change. Because if even one made it out, there could be others. Because the penny also lacks a mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a bare obverse, clean, silent, empty. And that detail? That's what's sending dealers into a frenzy. You see, most 1989 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, which typically didn't include a mint mark on its cents. But a coin like this, with the wrong reverse and no identifying location? That's unheard of. It breaks the mold. And when something breaks the mold, collectors pay fortunes to own it. At coin shows, whispers of the 1989 log cabin penny are spreading like wildfire. Some call it a myth. Others have sworn they've seen another. But no one can confirm if more exist. Which means if you have one, you might be holding the only surviving piece of a historic U.S. mint blunder. A retired schoolteacher in Ohio claims she discovered a similar penny in a mason jar filled with coins from her late husband. She's now having it authenticated. If hers turns out to be real, it could fetch even more than $848,000. Why? Because demand has skyrocketed. Dealers are offering six figures just for a chance to examine the coin. Look closely at the reverse. Does it show the Lincoln Memorial, or a rustic log cabin? The log cabin design features vertical wooden slats, a single door, and a faint U.S. flag waving above it. It's not just nostalgic, it's iconic. But on a 1989 penny? That's an anomaly of epic proportions. Even circulated, this coin can command hundreds of thousands. But in uncirculated or near-mint condition? The bidding war becomes explosive. One dealer reportedly offered $950,000 to a private seller before the auction even began. That's nearly $1 million. And he was outbid, because it's a ghost. A phantom error that shouldn't exist. It's the kind of coin that makes history, and rewrites it. And its value will only increase as more collectors seek it out, and fewer examples are found. Imagine holding your grandpa's old coffee can full of change. You reach in. Pick out a penny. It's a 1989. You flip it. And your heart stops. Suddenly, you're not holding a coin. You're holding a ticket. A ticket to financial freedom, to a new life. Because 1 cent could become $1 million. It's easy to overlook the reverse. Most folks check the date. Maybe the mint mark. But the design? They glance right past it. That's the mistake. That's the opportunity. Because if you slow down, if you really look, you might just spot the cabin, the flag, the window pattern, and realize you've discovered something no one else has. Start with the date, 1989. Check the obverse, Lincoln's bust, no mint mark. Then flip it. Examine the reverse. If it's not the Lincoln Memorial, if it shows a wooden log cabin, stop everything. Put it in a soft cloth. Do not clean it. And contact a reputable coin authenticator immediately. Don't polish or scrub the coin. Don't post it online right away, scammers are everywhere. And never sell it to a local shop without getting multiple offers. This coin is extremely rare. And if it's real, it's life-changing. Collectors have waited decades to see another one appear. Yours might be the next, and if you're still wondering, yes, coins like this still show up in circulation. In old jars. In estate sales. In pocket change from the gas station. They're out there.